Demon Slayer is deep. On the one hand, it seems like a straightforward and fun show. What's more simple than a bunch of samurais going around killing demons? But I'm here to tell you that the Demon Slayer Iceberg actually goes deep. Very deep. From questions about the fragility of humans and our place in the world, all the way up to stories like Cain and Abel, and the question of, is immortality a desirable goal to strive towards? And as the video progresses, I'll reveal more and more. And by the end of it, you won't be able to look at Demon Slayer the same ever again. We'll start our journey all the way back in episode 1, when Tanjiro was working in his family business trying to take over his dad's role as the provider of the family. Huh? Yes, you heard me. Tanjiro has daddy issues. Well, sorta. Giving a 14-year-old boy the job of providing for a family of 6, plus himself, is one hell of a task that puts so much psychological pressure on Tanjiro, he practically became who he is because of it. Most of you probably didn't think about it because you were enjoying the show too much, but me? Oh no. All I do is think about this kind of stuff. This is why I'm here to do the thinking and you're here to do the enjoying. You probably noticed that Tanjiro is blaming himself all the time about stuff he can't control. Also, he is very mature for a kid his age. This is because he sees himself as his father. He must provide. He must perform. He must sell the coal. Because after his father died, they became poorer. This is what Nezuko told him in episode 9 of season 2 before he woke up to see Gotaro. She didn't like the fact that he put all the pressure on himself to make everything okay. And if he screwed up, he blamed himself. Tanjiro has a big father complex. Even his name is one letter away from his father's name. Now, you can argue that his father complex is what not only saved him, but actually helped him defeat demons left and right, and you're probably right. But still, it can't go unnoticed. Another thing that can't go unnoticed is the fact that sun breathing is the only breathing that was passed down as a religious dance rather than a fighting style, and practically disappeared from the Demon Slayer Corps. And there is a good reason for it that some of you may not have noticed. Sun breathing was entrusted to the Kamado family, and the only way they could make sure sun breathing was passed down to their descendants was to make it into a religious ritual. Why, you ask? Because the Kamado family are coal burners and not fighters. Imagine what would happen if one day one of them got up one morning and said to himself, "I'm not a fighter, I'm a coal burner. I don't need to practice sword skills." Sun breathing would be gone, just like that. By making it into a religious ritual, they made sure their descendants will keep practicing it over and over again, generation after generation. But it goes even deeper than that. We know that Muzan and Kokushibo were killing sun-breathing users because of Muzan's paranoia of Yoriichi. By making it into a religious dance, it would be under his radar, keeping the family safe. Eventually, the plan failed and Muzan did find out that they were practicing sun-breathing and tried to turn them into demons that can conquer the sun. Little did he know that this simple action was the beginning of his end. Speaking of that eventful night, why did Nezuko conquer the sun? Moreover, how was Tanjiro able to become such a strong demon? Well, in the second fan book, it stated that Tanjiro's mom knew the whereabouts of the blue spider lily, which was blooming during the day for a very short amount of time, and that she had shown it to them. There's a theory that they actually ate the flowers as little kids, and this is what gave them the power to become such strong demons. But eventually, Nezuko was able to regain her humanity, which is great news for Zenitsu. Because let me tell you, if not for his love to Nezuko, I suspect that Zenitsu's path was way different. Zenitsu's personality was the definition of a loser. He's an attention-seeking perv that got into insane amounts of debt for women that didn't really care for him, to say the least. Plus, he's always complaining about hardships and could never push himself to improve. But Zenitsu's personality is actually rooted in a pretty deep dynamic. You see, when Zenitsu is falling asleep, he is one bad mother plumber. He can move insanely fast and actually defeated an upper rank all by himself. So where is the deep dynamic, you ask? Well, Zenitsu is an archetypal dream of a lot of people. Believe it or not, there are people like Zenitsu in our world, and seeing a guy like him is the perfect fantasy. Zenitsu having such great powers inspires people to think they have this kind of power inside them as well. Speaking of power, how can we forget the legendary demon slayer Yoriichi Tsugikuni? Yoriichi's Iceberg in the series actually goes so deep you can find it in one of the oldest stories in humanity's history. If you wondered how the story of Cain and Abel is related to Demon Slayer, just keep watching. When Yoriichi was born, he was favored by the gods, which made his brother Michikatsu very envious at him. So envious that he abandoned his humanity in order to surpass his brother, killing and eating hundreds of people as a demon. Yoriichi's presence alone is a source of contempt for Michikatsu. And when Yoriichi left, he felt relief. But why is that? Why was just being around Yoriichi so problematic for Michikatsu? Well, there's a saying that every ideal is a judge, which means that as long as Yoriichi was near Michikatsu, he was judging him to the point he felt inferior. I believe that Koyoharo showed this dynamic because it exists in all of us. Confronting greatness, especially when it's an endeavor you want to succeed in, is hard. And seeing someone that excels and fulfills your dreams can be devastating for a lot of people. It's like living in a constant feeling of being judged by this greatness, not knowing if you're ever going to achieve it. And in Yoriichi's case, no one was able to achieve it. But power is not the only thing that was inaccessible in Demon Slayer. All things being considered, no one is stronger than the progenitor of demons, Muzan Kibutsuji. But he had an empty hole in his heart. He wanted the power of immortality. On one hand, it seems that his goal is a typical villain goal, which is to gain immortality and control the world. But that's not really the case. On a deeper look, his goal is not only driven by rational thought, but the urge to live exists in every single one of us. Muzan was a sick person that wasn't supposed to live long. Tormented by his own weakness, he eventually got his hands on a limitless source of life and power. I'm not sympathizing with him or anything, but doing whatever you can to stay alive is one of the great forces that pushes humanity forward. What Muzan didn't understand is that he gained opportunity to live forever, but in exchange, he gave up on the very thing that makes him want to live forever in the first place: his humanity. And this theme is recurring all throughout Demon Slayer. The fragility of life against death itself. When Muzan told Tanjiro the Demon Slayer Corps are deviants, he wasn't mistaken. Being a Demon Slayer and risking your life for others is the exact opposite of the natural instinct of a human being. Fighting an unwinnable battle against creatures that can literally live forever in order to save people is not an easy task. It goes against every instinct you have. Using breaths to gain unnatural amounts of power is very similar to us using technology to move us forward. Nothing is natural about a giant machine digging in the ground to find coal, but this coal keeps us warm at night. In a sense, both Muzan and the Corps have the same goal. Both want to preserve life. Both think life is a sacred thing. Both think living is important. What they do with this goal in mind are two different things. I believe that this is why Yoriichi asked Muzan what he thinks life is. Is the purpose of life just to live it forever? Is your life so important that others don't mean anything? Or is there something bigger than that? If Muzan tried hard enough to find a solution for his human hunger, he could do it. Nezuko didn't eat humans and was perfectly fine and a very powerful demon. But Muzan chose the easier path. And don't be mistaken, we all have this part inside of us. This little voice that tells us that our life is more important than other people's lives. And this voice is only getting stronger when our lives are on the line. So what makes us human? Is it the unbreakable will to live? Or the understanding that what makes life great is its inevitable end? I'll let you think about it for yourself. If you're interested, please check out Muzan's full backstory, and until next time.